Hi, now we're going to talk about slope-intercept form. Now that you are slope experts, and we know the slope is the rate of change, also known as the rise over the run. And we're going to look, this is called the slope-intercept form of an equation. Notice that when it's in this format, that the y is by itself. And so this is kind of the generic slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. I'm going to make my b capital just so it doesn't get mistaken for a 6. So in this formula, or in this form, this number and this number, those two spots will be replaced by numbers. So this is an example of a specific equation in slope-intercept form. The 4, the coefficient of the x, notice the y is by itself. The y is by itself, the 4 is the m. That's the slope. So it's in that position where m is. That's the slope. The 6 is the b, and b is the y-intercept. So we talked about the y-axis. The y-intercept is the place where a graph or a line crosses the y-axis. It intercepts, it's there, kind of like intersect, right? This whole equation, we would say, is in slope-intercept form. So, what exactly will you be asked to do? Well, you might be asked to just identify the slope and the y-intercept. So, as long as the y is by itself, the slope is that coefficient of the x. So here, my slope is 1/4. These are in your notes, by the way, if I didn't say so before. And the y-intercept, the b, is a 4. So one of the IXL lessons, that is all you're doing. It's just asking you for one of those two things. You just need to pay attention that you're answering the right question. Now, what it means as far as the graph, it means we're going to start our graph at the b. So think about what comes first, m or b. Well, the b comes first. It's the y-intercept, and we know any place that crosses the y line has a 0 for x. And then the y is 4, so 0, 4. And honestly, you could kind of skip writing that down and just make a dot there. So that's the first point. It starts at that known point on the y-axis. From there, we're going to go up 1 and over 4, because this is our slope. So when I see 1/4, remember it's rise over run, so up 1 and over 4. And when I say over, I mean to the right, unless I tell you different. So up 1, over 1, 2, 3, 4. Make another dot. Then we want to connect and extend those two dots. So we're going to connect, extend, connect and extend, and draw some arrows on the ends, because a line goes on and on forever. That's just the small part of the line that we can see. So that's our process on paper. On IXL, after you click the second point, it's going to make the graph for you. All right, so let's look at another one. So also in your notes, oh, that's the same place I was, my bad. So this time, again, 3 for my slope, 5 for my y-intercept. So start at 5. on the y. Now, when the slope is a whole number, that's always the over part is a 1. So that means I want to go up 3 and over 1. However, up 3 would go off the top of my graph. 1, 2, 3 over 1. It would be about here, but it's kind of hard to tell because it would be off the top of my graph. So think about what else would give us a positive 3. Well, if I have a negative 3 and a negative 1, that would also be positive 3. So basically, instead of finding the next point to the right, we're going to find the next point to the left. So from the 5, we're going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, and to the left 1. Because 2 negatives in a fraction make a positive. And then now we see I can connect those 2 dots that are on the graph, and it looks like I made a pretty decent estimate of my other point. Maybe, kind of. Not a very good artist here. So connect, extend, draw some arrows on the end. It's actually a little easier to do with a ruler, which I knew that part's way off. Sorry, that really bothers me. If I really wanted to make a better one, I could go down 3 over 1 again, down 3 over 1, down 3 over 1. So now my line's pretty close. So to get positive slope, what I want to do is go up and to the right. But I can also go down and left, and that would still make the slope positive. So this one, my slope is negative 7/3. So that's my m. So if they just ask me for slope, negative 7 over 3. My b is negative 3. So I start at negative 3. We start with b. Alphabetically, b comes before m. And from there, I have 2 choices that make negative 7/3. Either down 7 and to the right 3, or up 7 and to the left 3. Both of those are the same thing as negative 7/3, as long as only one of them are negative. Now, in this case, I can't go down because it's not going to fit on my graph. So I'm going to go up 7 from the negative 3, not from the 0. So up 7 puts me here at 4, and then over to the left 3, since I need one of them to be. And if it's negative from left to right, I should see it's going downhill. So if I get done making my graph and from left to right it's not going down, then I know I don't have negative slope and something's gone wrong. So next we'll look at what that's going to look like, what you're going to be doing in IXL. Hopefully having a few examples on paper will be helpful. So this looks horrible, but it's not a big deal. This just says what is the Y-intercept. So you just need to decide which of the 2 numbers. Remember, the Y-intercept is the b. So we're just typing in 5 over 4. There is no math to do. It is just asking you to identify which one is that. What is the Y-intercept? That's the number at the end being added. That would be the 6. What is the Y-intercept? Now, if it's negative, that negative sign comes with it. So this is negative 8 over 9. Because the formula says plus b, so this would be like plus negative 8/9. So the sign goes with the number. Y-intercept, now I don't see anything here. This one just says y equals 6x. And remember, y equals mx plus b. I'm looking for something out here. So I need to think, what would I be adding that I wouldn't see anything? I must be adding 0. So my y-intercept is 0. So if I don't see a plus or minus at the end, that means the y-intercept is 0. So this time it says find the slope. So don't be lulled to sleep. It might ask you Y-intercept 20, well not 20 probably, but 10 times and then suddenly change to slope. So remember the slope, that's the m, that's the coefficient of the x. So that's a 2. Slope, so -5/8. Slope, so the one in front of the x, -7/2. Slope, 1/7. Y-intercept, so I gotta pay attention. So that would be -2. Slope, -3. Slope, -3/8. So don't be distracted by how messy that equation looks. The Y-intercept, remember that's the b, that's the one being added or subtracted. That's the constant, so 27. Y-intercept, -40. So I'm already at 85. So as long as you pay attention and don't leave out signs, S6 should go pretty quickly. Recommend that to you now. So that's the first one that is about slope-intercept form. The next one, we're going to be graphing. So like what we just did on the practice, but it's going to be a little easier because it's going to line everything up perfectly for us. So just remember that we start at the b. So I'm starting at -1, click, then down 3, and over 1. And I want to kind of confirm the slope is supposed to be negative. Is this line going down from left to right? Yes, it is. So this time I'm going to start at -9 because I see 4x minus 9, 4x minus 9. So -9, it was 4x, so my slope is 4, so up 4 and over 1. Click. If I click again, turns it off. So that second click, it automatically then draws your line. So start at 1, up 9, over 1, click. So we're starting at the b and then using our slope. So -4 is our b. Remember, when it's a fraction, you're going up or down the number on the top and then over side to side with the bottom number because it's rise over run. So we're going to go up 1 and then over 10. So I did not mean to do that. So up 1 and over 10. So I need to clip that off. Over 10. So notice when the slope is a small fraction like 1/10, it's not very steep. So start with the b. The b is 2. Now use our slope. So it's -1/10. So down 1 and over 10. Notice, had I gone up 1 and to the left 10, it would still be that same line. All right, so that's S7. You're graphing the equations. I like IXL for graphing because you get lots of practice without it being pages and pages and pages of paper. And so let me recommend that one also. And then the last one today, and this may, if we don't finish it today, may end up being part of Wednesdays. And this is now, we're going backwards from what we just did. Now we need to write an equation in slope-intercept form. So I know I would suggest you have a piece of paper and you write it down before you type it in. So you're always going to have y equal, or if you're in class and you have a dry erase board or you have a dry erase board at home, write y equals, leave a blank, write x, leave a blank. Where is this crossing the y-axis? What is the b? It touches the y at 10. So I know this is going to be plus 10. Now I need to find the slope like back when we were doing S3. So I find 2 points where it's at corners. One of them is always going to be, there's always going to be a perfect corner on the y. There's one. The next one I see is down here at 6. So it's between those two, it's going down 4 and over 1. So my slope is -4. And then this is what I want to type in. Y equals -4x plus 10. So y is equal to -4x plus 10. Y equals -4x plus 10. If you leave out the equal, if you leave out the y, if you leave out the x, it will be wrong. So I know, years of therapy, and now your algebra teacher is telling you don't forget your x. So again, I know I have to have y equals. And if you're doing it on a dry erase board, you could just keep erasing the m and the b and leave the other part there. So where is it crossing the y? At 5. That's the number that goes out here. And then starting from there, where's the next perfect corner that I see? And I usually look to the right. So in this case, it's going down, down, down. The next perfect corner I think I see is down here, which would be that it went down 5, 6, 7, 8, and over 1. That would be my slope, which would just be the same as just saying -8. And if I want to double check that, if I would count down 8 again, down 8 and over 1 would be like here, not right at the, it would be just off the graph, which looks like where that arrow is going. So y equals -8x plus 5. So y is equal to -8x plus 5. Okay, so we've only done a few of these. You are always welcome in class. And also if you miss things, please check out the explanation that's given. Right, so that's your goal, to try to get through all those newly recommended lessons. And please contact me if you have questions. Again, class meets 9 to 11:45. Thank you.